Alright, here with this video we'll be showing you just the general principles of how to draw this part here in, what lab is this? Here in lab 4, exercise 2. So I'm not going to go through the details of showing how to get every dimension here. Remember, with these parametric modeling softwares, a big advantage of these softwares is that you can get what we say shape before detail, really kind of form before detail. So we can get the general idea of this part and draw it, and then you can go through and add in the details which you have here in this drawing. So remember, one of the main problem solving processes that we can apply is, if you see a complicated part, let's just try to simplify it. So to simplify this part, I would pretend that this curved shape right here on top was not there. So let's say if we neglect that that is there, let's just try to draw this bottom part here at first. So now let's go through and do that. You can see it's made up of, this is basically one slot here, and then two other little half slots down on the bottom. Alright, here we go. Alright, so the slot tool that I'm going to use is, where's my center slot here, is the center slot, because you see that this part is symmetric about the middle point. So let's draw a slot here. Okay, I can extrude that slot some distance down. Again, I'm not getting the correct dimensions. Y'all can go through and get those details later. Just want to show the general idea here. Alright, so there's the main slot. Let's go through and add in another slot to cut a hole in the middle. There's that. Remember, when I extrude this, I'll extrude it as a cut. And we can go to this next piece here. There we go. Alright. Now let's create the holes here on the either end. Now you could do this by drawing a circle and extruding it. I like to use the hole feature, so with that hole feature I could easily go through and edit that hole to be a counter bore hole, have it be tapped for threads, different things like that. Alright, so we'll start a sketch here. I'm just going to put a point. I want a point to be right here at the center. This is the same center as the circular edge here. So let's just put one point there. So all I did was create a sketch with the point, and now I can use the hole feature here to create a hole. And this hole will be through all, so I can select distance through all, and we can select the diameter here. So make it 8, make it bigger than that. 14. Alright, so there's one hole, and of course I want this hole to be mirrored to this side here, so that if I change the diameter of one, then both of them will update. Let's mirror this around. Let's go find my center plane. And there's my center plane. Alright, so we've got that part. Okay, let's go in and see how we can add in these little tabs here on bottom. Okay, well, I want to basically make the same type of process. I would want to sketch this profile here and extrude it in this direction. But what plane could I sketch on? Let's look at that. Not that plane. Not that one. Okay, how about this plane? The problem is that plane is right there in the very middle, and I would want it to be further to the left, or yeah, further offset. So I can make a new plane, and let's do it offset from a plane. So let's make a new plane offset from this plane, and I can, let's say, drag it over here somewhere. Alright, so now I have a plane like this. From that plane, I can create a sketch. Slice the graphics. Alright, so now let's draw a little half slot here. I'm going to do this by doing first a rectangle like this. and then doing a circle. And notice I'm making sure that my circles snap to the middle and snap to that edge there. Alright, so you see what I've just sketched, and now I can extrude this. Now what I would do is I would extrude it in both directions. Let's select the profiles. So I would extrude this instead of one direction either side like this. Let's extrude it both directions. So what that means here is that this plane that I created, then that plane would have to be in the middle of this part here. And then of course I can cut a hole here. So let's again just do it with the hole feature. Notice here I'm wanting to put a point in the center, but it's not snapping to the center. What I want is I want to know where the center of this curve is. So I can do what's called project geometry and project this curve into the sketch. And notice this yellow point just popped up. So now I can create a point right there, and that point is at the center of this curve. Okay. Then from there I can put a hole. There we go. Alright, so now to get it on this side, let's just simply mirror this. So I'll mirror this and the hole, both of those. Let's mirror it around this middle plane. There it is. You can turn the visibility of this plane that we created. We can turn that visibility off just so we don't see it. Okay, there's that idea. Now, basically the last thing that I need to do now is add in the part that's a little more complex. That's adding in this curved part here. Alright, now again, let's ignore that we have this cylinder up here, and let's first just do this one here. Alright, well, I can see this is where a sweep feature would be very nice. I cannot just do an extrusion, and I cannot just do a simple revolution, but I can do a sweep. So let's first draw the path that I would sweep the profile on. So let's just draw that path there. Alright. So let's find a sketch, or a sketch plane. Not that one. Not that one. That one looks good. Okay, the reason that one looks good is because now I can draw this path that goes like this. Okay. Alright, now notice if you look here in the drawing, this path, or this circle here, starts at the center of this slot. So if I look here, I would want my path to start directly in the middle between here and here. So how could I do that? Well, I would do like this. Let's project some geometry first. Let's project this geometry. So notice I have all these yellow lines that are now in my sketch. And I'm going to make some construction lines. Let's make one construction line that goes from here to here. Okay. Now let's make another construction line that starts in the middle of this. There's the middle point and goes up here. There it is. Okay, so I know this point right there is in between here and here at all times because it came from the middle of that line. Alright, I can turn construction line off, and let's sketch generally. Let's profile, let's come up. Okay. Now notice these tangent constraints popped up, and I do want this tangent, so that's good. But one thing you see is, oh wait a second, this point is not in the center here. How could I do that? Well, there's a couple ways. I could say let's make this symmetric about this line here, but I don't have a line right there. Well, I can go make one. So let's make a center line that starts here at the middle. Okay. And now I can use this symmetric constraint here, which says let's make this line and this line symmetric around here. There it is. And so now it's always symmetric. Alright, so there's a path right there. Now I need to sketch what's called the profile that would sweep along that path. And for that, I'm just going to create a circle. Now the circle needs to be perpendicular to this line at that point right there. I don't need to make a plane because there's already this plane that I can sketch on. So let's click on that face and create a sketch. And I want the circle to start at that point right there. Okay? So I can project this line into the sketch, and there is a little yellow dot that popped up there. Okay? Now I can come through and make a circle that goes there and snaps to the edge. Okay? So that's what I want to sweep. So now I would use the sweep feature. It first wants me to select the profile, that's this, and then it wants me to select the path, that's this, and there's the preview. There you go. Alright, so we're slowly adding it, we're slowly building this part up. Now let's make the cylinder here. Well, again, we all know how to make a cylinder, or hopefully you do by this point, but now we just need to make the cylinder that is offset from this bottom surface here. So again, I can use my offset plane. So let's go create a plane, offset from this top surface, and let's say the bottom of it will start somewhere up here. How about right there? Okay. Now on that plane, then I can create a sketch. I can create a circle, extrude this circle up. There we go. And then I can cut a hole through it as well. So let's create a sketch here. And I can extrude as a cut, and let's go to this surface there. And there's the general idea for the part right there. Alright, hope that was helpful. Now you can apply this same process, but now just adding dimensions to it.